Richie Myler is back in his hometown from 2018 onwards. So they will need a fill-in this year to try and make sure they can retain Super League status.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. And last word on this one we'll give to Paul Ludo Lewis. He says, a much improved performance from recent weeks. A higher work rate from the forwards, helping a clever kicking game and all-round quality in attack. But enough about Hull. Widnes were once again shite. I listened on the radio as I didn't actually make the trip due to not being mental, but it sounds like same old ill-disciplined, lacklustered performance. Dennis Betts 100% has Steve O'Connor dick pics.
It's a bit ableist of Ludo there, isn't it?
There you go. But he's not happy, is he?
No, and I wouldn't be if I was a Widnes fan. They're not inspiring. When I've watched the highlights, Albert Kelly keeps doing
what Albert Kelly's meant to do.
Skillful things, taking balls he has no right to take, beating players from a standing start, doing everything. But he must be doing the other side of things as well, because teams aren't running roughshod through his position like they were when he was at Hull Kingston Rovers. So Radders is the dadders there with that one, certainly. And Scoots touched on it, but Minicello set up a try for Shaw, didn't he? And Minicello we've not seen too much good line running from this year, and Sky have picked up on it a few times in their reviews saying he seems to be passing the ball a little bit more rather than running, and it's been a real shitter for him in terms of my dream team from that sort of perspective. But this week it looked more like he was line running and Shaw with the support. That's what we're used to seeing Shaw do, scoring tries that have started in his own half. Picking up loose balls or picking off plays that he's using his speed to get in the right position for. And obviously, maybe it's because he's been catching balls well in this game that's fed through to his confidence to feel like he can get in those positions. But Hull will be reassured by all of that, certainly. And Gareth Ellis coming back off the bench was a bonus for them. Did you catch any of?
I saw the highlights again, so I'm basing it on really what I saw from the scores, but I just want to echo what Rich Langley said really about this halfback combination. I really, really like offsetting the game manager with the explosive running halfback. I always like that when teams combine that. I think two of the same doesn't always work. You need that yin and the yang at 6 and 7, and I think that's going to be something that pays off really well for Hull, and it'll be an augmentation of what they had when Leon Price was there doing essentially the Albert Kelly role, I imagine he was meant to be fulfilling that. So it's a big improvement.
When they had the best attacking patch last year, it was when Tumavave was at 6, and he was doing some not freakish things necessarily, but doing some things that most players can't. Finding holes in defences that other players wouldn't see, and being able to exploit them, and that's what Kelly's doing. But Kelly is more adept at it, so he can do it more regularly.
And I think the fact that he's playing alongside a better drilled, better organised defensive unit allows him the freedom to do that, and allows them to cover and actually make up for
a hard-working, high-quality forward pack.
Yeah, absolutely. But no credit to Hull. They're starting to gel, and the new players are coming in, so it's looking like it's taking shape for them. What did the stats tell us?
Well, based on the stats, the scoreline actually flatters Widnes. Only Cassie's hammering of Leeds was more one-sided in terms of an advantage in metres gained and in positive-negative play differential between the two sides. Hull had 6 more breaks and 661 more metres, made at 1.9 metres per carry more than Widnes could gain ground at. That's the biggest difference between the teams in gaining ground so far this year. In their defensive work, Widnes had 3.8% worse tackle success and also a 14-7 penalty count against them, offered no favours. I mean, like I say, flatters Widnes that they didn't concede. Maybe credits Widnes' defence that they didn't concede more points. I don't know.
So,
in terms of individuals, Albert Kelly we've talked about, 2 tries for him, 1 try assist, 5 tackles, 2 clean breaks. Mahe Fanua with a try assist, 151 metres. Jamie Shaw with a try, 130 metres. Mark Minicello, 1 try assist, 2 tackle busts, 156 metres, 2 clean breaks. Danny Houghton with A yeah, mate, both ways, 1 try, 51 tackles, 11 marker tackles.
Did anybody meet the threshold for inclusion out of the witness Vikings?
Yeah, a couple of the props. Jay Chapelho made 114 metres as his development continues for the Vikings. That's something they can be pleased with. And Jack Buchanan made 44 tackles and 125 metres, so worked hard both ways. Cahill stats, as everyone likes to follow.
Did he? When did that become a thing?
Every week.
This week in
We're
Cahill?
surprisingly low, so I assume he went off injured.
Oh, right, there you go. I'm surprised you don't know exactly what's up with him.
I didn't follow it up, but I saw his stats were really low. But I half thought someone might mention it because of how much we talk about it.
I'm surprised he worked around his house with a bunch of flowers and prepared to rub some bio oil in it.
No romantic feelings.
Just physical.
Just impressed with the effort he puts in every week.
Fair enough. You're not being drawn out on this. I can tell by the look on your face. Okay, so at the same time on Friday night down at Headingley Mark, Leeds Rhinos got back on the horse, if that's not too much of a mixed metaphor.
They're galloping, if anything.
Absolutely, yeah. 38 points, they're on the charge. 38 points to 14 winners over Wakefield in front of 14,411. Wakefield made a fist of this early doors, but there were big performances from Leeds' pack, particularly Parcell and Cuthbertson, starting to combine well. Cal Watkins had a good game for the Rhinos, and we saw a couple of spectacular consolation tries for Trinity from Tom Johnston, didn't we?
Yes, so we start with Tyler Casfan on the fan reviews. He said, a nice couple of forward steps from the Rhinestones after their arse tanning at the jungle. Forwards made too many easy yards, laying the platform for Parcell to shine. St Trinians didn't show any of the hard graft and determination of their first few games, and will need to fix up a few things for next week.
You know how they say, if a tree falls in the forest and there's no one there to hear it, doesn't make a sound? If the Rhinos win a match and there's a Castleford fan to talk about it, will they always bring up the tanning, or will they always bring up the kicking that they gave them at the jungle, do you think? I suspect so.
Yeah.
66. That's all you got to say. Yeah. 66 points. Okay.
Tyler's got like 50, 60, 70 years of bringing this result off, I feel.
He's going to be dining out on this for quite some little while, isn't he? Mark Stevo said, great win for the Rhinos, but much more improvement needed if we are to compete nearer the top 4.
Mitchell Dart said, wouldn't say it's the Leeds of old, but pretty happy with the win. But some pleasing improvement across the park. Parcell to Watkins was brilliant. Yeah, that little inside reverse
behind the back pass
offload, that was great. Tom Johnson's first half try and the lead up was great by Wakefield.
Was that the free play try?
That was the free play try, yeah. I mean, both his tries were pretty dominant over his opposition. The pace, the leap, when he turns it on, I think he doesn't quite turn it on regularly enough yet, but when he does, it looks great, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's freakish. The Wakey White got in touch. He said there was a foul stench hanging around Headingley on Friday night. Was it the South Stand? Yes, possibly, but more likely it was Wakefield's attacking play. Williams and Miller are definitely more of a pair of individuals than a partnership. Poor execution, poor decision making, a real sad performance from Trin. The worst thing is that Leeds didn't even look good and managed to score from some very tame areas.
Rich Wilkinson said, another solid win from Leeds. Parcell and Cuthbo were magic 50 minutes in, and we were on the end of 2 shit calls. Wakey had a couple of sets on our line. In 2015 we'd have folded, but we touched it out and put the game to bed. That's the difference from last year. Despite a good win, Phil, I'm a huge gaping arsehole Clark, was slagging us off. What a bit of cunt he is. With all due respect, Phil, go fuck your own man pussy.
Oh my word, we have incited the wrath.
If I remember right, Phil Clark, after the game, said he still doesn't think he's seen enough from this Leeds side to suggest that they're going to finish in the top 4, which is exactly what Mark Stevo just said before. Yeah. So I think the one who's better than the other might be Rich Wilkinson.
Maybe he's not bitter, but he's certainly got someone he doesn't like hearing from. I didn't think Phil Clark.
Leeds and Phil Clark have a long-standing hatred between the two of them.
I didn't feel like Phil Clark was particularly anti-Leeds in this one, but the problem is of course when he has said things in the past that have been inflammatory and have drawn the ire, that kind of predisposes to finding everything he says to be the product of what I would quote as a huge gaping arsehole.
Yeah.
So fair play. We've already had
Wakey
White, but he's back
White
again.
Had a few beers. It's a slightly different review, but starts very similarly.
Let's see how he does this. He says, an unholy stench descended on Headingley on Friday night. Sadly, it wasn't the South Stand, just Wakefield's attacking play. I like the idea that we've had drafts of Wakey White's tweet and that he's putting time into it. I love your style. A wake-up call for Trin. Our supposedly big pack got completely crushed by Ablett and Cuthbertson. Parcell in particular was very good, and Trin just couldn't handle what he brung. Much to do for Chester, or Lee and their brutes could turn us over on Thursday. Cutthroat Jake, Mark.
Yeah, Cutthroat Jake said, our improvement continues. If Cuthbertson plays like this, he'll be up there at the end of year for the Man of Steel. Best try of the night, though, was Johnston's. What a star that lad is. His abundant speed when compared to Ryan Hall highlights Ryan should be moved to the pack. He might receive more passes then.
I'm saying, honestly, I'll keep banging that drum. Ryan Hall needs to get brought in now. He's had his fun. Let's utilise him elsewhere, I would say. Anyway.
I'm not sure he'll agree with that.
No, I'm quite certain he won't. But he's got his testimonial this year? Or has he had it? He's had a testimonial.
No, it might be next year.
It's time to come in and do some work, Ryan.
Yeah, might be next year.
Play him at loose. That's what I do. I don't know. I'm not a coach. he's just slowing down. Let's try him at centre. Let's do it gradually. Paul Ludo Lewis.
I don't know if he's got the passing for centre. I'm not sure.
Forward.
He has some good offloading ability sometimes. You know, when he's had to do improvise on things when he's going out of touch close to the line or whatever.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure he's got the hands for the passing required.
Ball running 13.
We'll see. Yeah,
that's what I reckon. Paul Ludo Lewis. He says, I think Brett Ferris found all the weight that Derek Beaumont has lost. He does look bigger, doesn't he? I don't think he looks overweight though, Brett Ferris. I think he's just been caning the gym.
No, I think he looked overweight, and I thought he was massive. And how I would describe it, he looked younger though, weirdly.
He's obviously found a woman who was prepared to cook him a breakfast and keep him interested.
He's back at his mum's, isn't he?
Very good.
But there was a bit of biff that nearly kicked off as well, weren't there, between Ferris and Hubie, but he all got sorted out pretty quickly. There was a big hit on him though. But no, what he looked like to me was like, you know, when you go and get like a caricature artist picture of someone.
It looks like someone's drawn a cartoon of it.
And the heads are bigger than they normally are. It looked like a caricature artist's version of Brett Ferris's head. It just looked bigger than it used to always be.
Big cowhead, isn't he?
Yeah,
absolutely. Like the U2 heads that you used to have on TFI Friday.
Yeah, he was definitely carrying some extra pounds, I felt. Right,
well, let's get off Brett Ferris's timber and talk about the fair on the pitch, because it threatened to be a game for a short period of time, but Leeds, without really having to hit second gear for me, got a good result and scored some interesting tries in the process. The spectacular stuff happened on Wakefield's side of the ball, but this is a game that people had, experts in the field that thought Wakefield would come in and get a result from, and actually Leeds blew them away in terms of what was on the scoreboard. So credit to Leeds, and it's the second one of those games that are coming in this apparently key month for them. So
yeah,
halfway through that, I think they've come out with some big scores.
1 point off the top, crisis averted.
Yeah,
but I think this felt quite easy for Leeds. I don't think they had to do a lot. I don't think Wakefield had the right sort of intensity, and no. I don't really feel like Wakefield did start the game particularly well. I think they tried to up the intensity, sort of as the game went on, but they never got there. Leeds were finding it very easy, and when the interchanges happened, Mitch Garbutt came on, and he just absolutely, I'm surprised one of the reviews mentioned it, he tore holes through them repeatedly. He just bashed and bashed and bashed and bashed and wore out all of the pack basically on the opposite side, and was able to create plenty of room for Parcell, Maguire, Moon, Burrow, Watkins to do some nice stuff. And Leeds have clearly been able to get something going again, which is really good for them and their fans. And I think it's helped that they've had Widnes and Wakefield, who are two of the arguably weaker squads in the competition, particularly on getting Wakefield on a down game, because Wakefield had put so much effort and intensity into the last late sort of wins against St Helens and Salford, that maybe they were carrying a little bit of that into this stage. And at this stage of the season, it does feel like players are starting to carry knocks. intensities aren't always as constant as they were in the first couple of rounds. So maybe that's affected Wakefield a little bit negatively. But Leeds took full advantage, and you can't take anything away from Leeds being able to do that. And like I said, Garbutt was like so forceful, and Parcell was excellent off the back of it. I think he maybe got lots of credit for forwards laying the platform for him, but he did a good job.
Well, that's what you're meant to do for you. You're meant to give him the room to scoot out and do those exciting things and execute that. And the confidence to put that ball behind his back for Cal Watkins and stuff like that is a young man playing on form, and he is a young boy, isn't he? You forget how.
Yeah. Like he's 24.
I know, but he looks like
he looks young.
He looks like he should be sliding into Adam Johnson's DMs at that age. He's a young-looking kid, so the confidence that boy's got. Credit to him.
Yeah, and I think what Leeds were able to do